Do you think the reason that everyone else is not as rich as you, Martin, is because they choose to be poor?
I think that very few people have the work ethic and the guts that I have.
Also, there's a little bit of knowledge. Like, you have to learn the system and learn the game. You can't just be like, a lot of people think if they work enough, they'll make tons of money.
It's a psychological makeup, pretty much. It has nothing to do with, it has something to do with working hard, but...
Okay, yeah. Like, we're already getting away from working hard. Like, working hard is
success is more about a complex set of personality traits that you're endowed with, just born with, really. The ability, for instance, like not giving up.
You're basically saying it's a genetic lottery, then.
It sort of is. It sort of is.
It sort of is. Run medical companies or whatever.
Yeah.
Those people are going to get rich, and people who don't have those talents are going to see their wages stay stagnant. If things go the way they have been going, they're going to see their wages stay
decline.
The same.
Yeah, even decline.
The idea that I think we were getting at is that a lot of people are born into money, and that's one thing. Some people make their way in, and that comes through a combination of winning the genetic lottery, like I alluded to, being born with the valuable traits, and being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people, that kind of thing. But most people don't have these opportunities.
Yep.
So when you say like anyone can climb into the top 1% or the top, 10th of 1%, I think that's just fundamentally not true, and that's why we have to be concerned with median income. That's why we have to be concerned with the middle and the lower class.
Why should everybody just make tons of money?
Because it's not a choice. It's not an option.
It's funny. The 1% wouldn't exist if everyone.
No, but why should everybody be rich? Is what I'm asking. Why should everybody be rich?
That does sound like a rational argument when you make it like that, but it breaks down when you realize that the progress being made by the 1% that you're degrading so harshly, it wouldn't exist without the system that you're attacking. So
at all, I think it's fine for people to be rich and realize not everyone can be in the top 1%.
Your thinking is well-meaning, but it's paradoxical, and that's why it's dangerous to continue thinking that way, in my opinion.
It is extremely paradoxical.
Most of American history, household income has increased for the median household. People have gotten more money.
It's really not an easy, that's not a great statistic to look at. I mean, it's flawed for many reasons, as you can imagine. The first is immigration. And if you guys don't mind, let me just talk to him, just so you guys can hear my side of this. The makeup of our country is constantly changing, as you may know. It's the sort of beacon of light for the globe. My parents came to America and not any other place in the world because of its favorable characteristics, including the rapid social ascension that's possible. And, it worked really well for our family. Now we're one of the richest families in the country. And, it's a big family. And one of us made it. And I think that was the collective sacrifice, was the concept that my parents had 4 kids. They knew that not every one of those kids was going to be a CEO or a great innovator or inventor. But one was, and that's sort of the American dream. And a big part of America is that you're not just dreaming for yourself, you're also dreaming for your friends. A lot of people who look up to me and know that for whatever reason, maybe genetically, maybe not, that they can't or won't focus on becoming financially successful, they're still rooting for me. And I think that's something that's kind of neat about America, is that we feel, or at least we used to feel, and I think it's not a good thing that we're starting to get away from this. We used to feel great pride when someone made $1 billion. We used to feel great joy for them and admiration, really, for their accomplishments. Now it's almost like a dirty word, and I don't know where that's coming from.
I'm not opposed to people making money or to people being rich, and I think your story is inspiring. But I'd like you to think about, a family like yours, except for the fact that it didn't have a child who became a CEO, and that family is going to be consigned to stagnant income.
There's other countries to live in. I mean, America. Let me just get out this point. So, you did come here, so I'm just going to be the host of this thing. When you come to America, you sort of sign up. It's sort of like the personality trait you sign up for. Like in New York City, there's a lot of different neighborhoods, and they each have their kind of characteristics. Like you wouldn't, if you're a party animal, you may not want to move to the Upper East Side. Likewise, if you like a staid, quiet neighborhood, you probably don't want to live in the meatpacking district. Well, America is a country for people who want to sign up for that kind of unequal wealth distribution. It's a country for people who want to be a part of this strange dynamic that I've articulated. If my parents didn't want that and they wanted some laissez-faire kind of socialist equal opportunity thing, guess what? They had that in Albania. They didn't like it. They hated it. They had it and they had that opportunity in all of Europe. They lived in Italy as well. They hated it. They came to America for a reason. It was their choice, not, it wasn't forced on them.
Do you think is harmful to the, the basic idea you're advancing, that there should be...
Can you say the first part of your question again?
What about Bernie Sanders, like his campaign or his position?
Well, there's nothing... I'm not against Bernie Sanders per se. I don't think there's... I just think that they're more comfortable talking about what we were talking about, which is this notion that it's okay for there to be greatly disparate income differences. And
I can agree with that, and I grant that. It's okay for there to be disparate incomes. I realize not everyone can be rich. But what I'm trying to suggest is that we should aim for everyone being more wealthy than they were in the past.
Well, what I'm saying is I think there are other countries that aim for that. And if you want that aim, those countries are perfectly okay to settle in. And I think a lot of people make...
76 in America was like that. People, children were better off than their parents.
All I'm saying is you can look up a chart if you don't like, if you're a family and you don't like my family, when they left Albania in the 70s, they were not economists, right? I don't think my parents understand the concept of the word median. And they came to America because they heard that there are these huge opportunities for their children. And they felt that there was this just bonanza of opportunity. In my case, they were right. I'm sure there are Albanian families that in many cases they were wrong. But the point is that, you can sort of, even if you're not an economist, understand what countries have what social dynamics. Like, I don't know, if you really pick the most socialist country in Europe, but if you really don't want to be in a situation where there's big economic disparity, you can move. I mean, people come to America because they like economic disparity.
I'm a little lost as to why you're still on this point, because I've never argued that economic disparity is bad. In fact, I've said explicitly that it's fine, that it's a good thing. So
it sounded,
wait, are you taking?
It sounded like you were arguing.
Failed finance guy. He's a failed finance.
It did sound like you were opposed to it, but.
No. If it sounded like that, then I've been miscommunicating, because I'm fine with economic disparity. I'm fine with some people being more rich. What I'm not fine with is wages staying the same over time. That implies median wages staying the same over time, while mean wages rise. The mean rises because the upper 1% gets more wealthy, but median stays the same, indicating that...
and I'm saying that's okay, that people participate in that because it's sort of a lotto-based concept. It's the same reason people play the lottery. They know...
Lottery is not a good idea for people to play.
Well, that's your call, but my parents liked.
It's my call backed up by statistics.
No. It's your personal opinion, because my parents loved the concept of leaving Albania and coming to America, where at least there was a chance that their family could have a great life.
Like, instead of Albania, let's compare it to Sweden or Norway.
Look, they could have moved there too, and they decided that would be communism plus.
I'm not arguing that your parents made the wrong choice. Like, generalizing from your singular example is, I think, irrelevant.
That's fine.
So, congratulations, your parents made a lucky decision, and it worked out for you and them. But it's not working out for millions of other people. And when you make an argument like this about the way a country should be run, how the economy works.
I'm telling you,
should
I'm telling
on statistics or general trends,
I'm
and
telling-
not.
I'm telling you that people enjoy the concept of opportunity, that even though they understand that it's unlikely that they're going to be very successful, that there is a chance that they're going to be very successful. And that is alluring to people. That inspires people. It gets them to work hard and love their country.
No, not at all, Martin. You're
All
not.
right.
Oh yeah, so like you mentioned the concept of a lottery. Like a lottery is not a good investment. If you may be deluded into thinking it is and believing, well,
Yeah,
I have a chance of winning, and I really like the hope or whatever. But realistically, you don't, and that's still true. Even if you hear an interview of a lottery player saying, "Oh, I spent my last savings on lottery tickets, and it worked out for me because I love risk, I love opportunity." Well, that's not good advice to everyone else, because most people who play the lottery fail. And what I'm trying to advance is the idea that we should focus on making the chance of winning the lottery better. We should focus on making life for the median household, for most people in the world, better. So again, it's great.
I don't think that's incompatible with. I think you have to be unhuman to not want that, right?
And it sounds like we may be on the same page. I'm not sure where exactly we're disagreeing. We're both okay with income inequality, and we both think that.
I think there's a misconception that people who support what you support are basically supporting welfare. That's not what you likely believe in. Just blanket welfare check writing.
Sorry, you're saying you think I don't believe in basic welfare check?
I hope that you don't. I wouldn't think that you do. I think people like me and like some of the people here probably are misinformed that people like you and other Bernie supporters just believe in writing big checks out to anyone who needs it.
I said I definitely believe that society should be committed to taking care of people who can't take care of themselves. I think it's not okay for a child to be born to a poor family and for that child to suffer a worse life as a result of that basic bad luck. I think we should provide people a minimum standard of living.
So that sounds very humanistic and great, but what happens when all of the wealth becomes redistributed? Because if I'm in Africa and I hear about that, I'm coming to America.
I'm fine with immigration policies restricting who can come in.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, as long as the question becomes can you really control it? Because that the more you guarantee people, it just becomes a game of inflow and outflow.
Well, the inflow of people if we have a welfare state, for sure. But like my basic support of Bernie Sanders really derives from.
Can I ask you a personal question? Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a software developer.
Cool. All right. Just curious.